Well, thank you so much for joining us. I am Walisha Wilson. I'm the founder of New Life Second Chance Outreach, and we are hosting our second event for Second Chance Month. Last week, we had an event supporting individuals with housing, and this year we're welcoming Renee Turnipseed of American Income Life to talk about another very good necessity that a lot of people tend to overlook when we're dealing with prioritizing family and ways to really, really show, yes, we can give people gifts, we can give folks money, but one of the best ways that you can show your family that you love them is to make sure that you're leaving them something when you leave this earth, and also to have ways to protect our children. So in tonight's event, Renee will tell us briefly just a little bit about how long she's been doing this, why she's passionate in doing it. But then she's going to get into a presentation that's going to talk about some of American Income Life's services, which is life insurance, supplemental health insurance, how you can, some wheels, and some of the free templates that she has, as well as the free child safety kits. Georgia has a lot of children that go missing all the time, and particularly in the rural areas as well. I mean, pretty much almost everywhere you can turn on the news and a child is missing. And unfortunately and sadly, supposedly, if you don't find a child within 24 to 48 hours, it's not good chances that they will be found alive. And a lot of times children are found and years later there's bones and all this stuff and nobody knows who the children are. But this child safety kit is going to be a way for you to, whether you're swabbing their mouth or putting a piece of hair somewhere, to have ways to identify that when you need to call the police, your children are able to be identified. And it's actually really neat because back in the day, it used to be like a paper kit, I remember. But now Renee is going to actually show you how you can do it through the app. And there's actually an app. All you got to do is tap the button and it immediately calls the police. So we would like to welcome everyone who's on this call and thank you so much for joining us. And just by you attending lets us know that you are someone who's very serious. And I say this all the time. Life insurance is just as important as paying rent. It's just as important as paying car insurance. A lot of people feel like they may not need life insurance because they're young. But if you haven't watched the news lately, people are dying younger and younger all the time. And truth be told, hitting people up for GoFundMe is not life insurance. To be able to have something that you can provide for your family that can set them up to not only pay for your own burial and your services, but something to leave them a little cushion behind. So I'm excited to hear the information that you have to present, Renee. So I would like to welcome you officially and thank you so much for joining us tonight. So I'm going to allow you to go ahead and share the screen. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then when you're ready to share the screen, feel free.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate the invite.
Oh,
Absolutely. And I just want to piggyback on what you're saying. Protecting our children with the safety kit is one way to protect our children, but you're right. Life insurance is absolutely a good way to protect our children and our spouses if something goes wrong. And as I'm going into the presentation, we will hit some of those supplemental insurances that you're talking about, where what if a child loses a parent? What can happen then? Let's say you lose one and you got the other. Well, what does that other parent do? And it is one of the reasons why I'm doing what I do. I got hit with a situation where I do not have the my spouse with me anymore, and so it became a situation where what do you do? What do you do? I didn't have the income coming in, so I actually went out trying to find a job that I could be at home with my children and still do something that I was passionate about. And I'm extremely passionate about life insurance policy and the supplements and the no cost benefits that we give each person that we meet with. And we'll be going over that today. So,
so you're saying that even with plans that people pay for, they also get other additional note-free benefits with it.
correct,
Okay.
correct. And that'll be the one of the first things we go through in this presentation at first. So anyone who wants to meet up with me, they can send me an email. I'm sure you're going to provide that, or text me,
Yes.
call me, and we won't have to go through all the presentation. They'll go ahead and get that no cost benefits because they watched this, and then we can go over and customize a plan for them
Okay.
based on their
Well,
needs.
okay. Well, whenever you're ready, share, feel free.
All righty. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. And I've put in my information so that I wouldn't have to keep stopping. And obviously this information is not really correct, but I wanted to be able to show y'all exactly what I do, and what services I can provide. Okay. So I'm going to share my screen now. Everybody should be able to see it and hear it. And what we're going to do is we're going to start off with, we're going to discuss exactly what company I'm with and how everybody ended up meeting with me today.
Okay.
Welcome to Globe Life. As the official life insurance company of the Los Angeles Lakers, Dallas Cowboys, Texas Rangers, and proud partners of the Atlanta Braves, we are the largest life insurance company in the country, with more than 17 million active policyholders. Globe Life American Income Division is a unionized financial services company, providing permanent insurance benefits to most of the major labor unions and associations across the country for the last 70 years. The International Union of Police Associations, the American Federation of Teachers, and the Federation of School Administrators, just to name a few. And in total, almost 40,000 different groups. We work closely with the Labor Advisory Board, an institution made up of the 54 largest international organizations whose job is to find the best companies to help fill gaps in their members' permanent benefit plans. The Labor Advisory Board needs to do this because most members have temporary benefits set up through work, but they lose them going into retirement, just like most Americans. So what does this mean for you? Whether you're a parent, grandparent, or guardian, your most important job is to keep the children safe. And through our collaboration with the International Union of Police and its president, Sam Cabral, you'll receive the same special treatment our union members do, while we help you take steps towards protecting them with the Child Safety Kit. And we're grateful for the opportunity to help you and your family today.
All right. Well, just to expand on the videos you've seen, one of our largest and most important partnerships is with the International Union of Police, and they are why we offer this program. The Child Safe program was introduced so we can help our members with their children and grandchildren come up with a better plan, not only to protect our families financially, but to also protect our kids from the crazy and dangerous world that we live in. The process is really quick and simple. First, I'm going to walk you through the Child Safety Kit and all the other no-cost benefits in the kit. And then the second part of the kit's even better. All of our members get access to this really cool program called the Income Protection. This program is designed to answer a lot of the common questions our members ask us about the reverse scenario. And that's when a kid loses their parent or grandparent, or whoever's caring for them. And it'll give us some benefit options to help keep the kids safe. All right, so we're going to go. Here is our no-cost benefits that you're going to be receiving today. These are free. The first section, the first one is called we call it FIG, Family Information Guide. All right, we put this together because the unions were coming to us and they were saying that the two things that they were hearing from people is when someone died, that the family members were having to run around and get all that information together. And I mean, you're going through the worst time of your life, or you're having to pay somebody to do this. And we just didn't feel like those options sounded great. So the unions came to us and we created this form here. And what this form is going to do is if something happens to you, your family has this in their hands. All right, I'm going to go through it very quickly. The first section is vital statistics, just a fancy way of saying basic information. All of this information up here on top is exactly the information you will need to get a birth certificate, your death certificate as soon as possible. The next section is veterans information. If no one's a veteran, then you just mark that out. And then the next section is spouse information. So if you are married, you would have two of these forms, and then, one would be on one and one would be on the other, okay? Persons to be notified. The idea here is if you were sick in the hospital or incapacitated or already passed away, this is where you're going to list the people you want informed. Next section is will and testament. This is a place to give details about your last will and testament if you have one. And you can tell your family where to find it, because if they can't find it, obviously it doesn't do them any good. But the thing to note is you will get a free one of those as well today. Estate information. This is where you're going to put your life insurance information. One of the important things for me to note is that life insurance policies go unclaimed all the time, all the time. And the number one reason is because families don't know that they exist. So we want to make sure we have that listed here. All right. Then we have underneath that financial institution. That is just your bank information. Important to note that when someone dies, that bank money is not immediately accessible. Okay, so we just want to make sure that we note that. Safe deposit box. If you have a safe deposit, most people don't. There is a section for that. And then this last section is called funeral service requests. And this is when I get to do part of my job is to get people thinking about what would happen, you know, what needs to happen. So what we do during this section is we talk about whether we would want a cremation or earth burial. I'm filling out this information for myself and my pretend spouse. So I'm going to choose cremation for one and burial for the other, and that's going to come into play in a little bit later, okay? But in this section is we want you to think about 3 people that you would want to choose to make your arrangements for you, okay? So as I'm talking about that, think of 3 people, okay? And they would go in this section. And of course, you know, when we're done with this, this is a conversation you need to have with your family, with those people who are going to be making the arrangements, so that they're aware that you have chosen them for that position, okay? All right, our next thing in our kit is the child safety kit. This is our most popular. We partnered with the International Union of Police, and they've asked us to get this in the hands of every parent, grandparent, or caregiver of a child. I'm going to play a quick video. This is from Sam Cabral, the president of the International Union of Police.
Ma'am, can I ask you a question?
Of course.
Did you say that you needed 3 people to make funeral arrangements, or what? I didn't understand that part.
They say you want to think about 3 people, okay, when you're making funeral arrangements, because if you choose all family members, this is the worst time of their life, right? So you want to try to think of like a friend of the family as well. You want to think about people being local. You know, if somebody's trying to get here to make those arrangements for you, it's going to be quite difficult if they're 2 states over. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. All right. Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
won't interrupt more.
Oh, no, that's good. I like the questions. I like the questions. All right, so here's a little quick video for you.
My name is Sam Cabral, President of the International Union of Police Associations. According to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, over 1,000 children are abducted in the U.S. every day. The IUPA is proud to partner with American Income Life and National Income Life insurance companies to help protect children in communities all across North America with child safe kits. Please take a few minutes to listen to your AIL and NL-SCO representatives. Help us protect your communities and consider the no-cost and supplemental offers available from a company dedicated to helping protect working families. Thank you.
So almost 500,000 children go missing every year. And statistics show that if we don't find them within that first 24 hours, we're probably not going to find them. All right. So what this kit gives is parents the ability to immediately provide all the information police needs to find a child before an official Amber Alert is even released. So pretty fast, right? Now, what we're going to do now is, I don't know if anyone that's on the call right now has children and wants to download this, but the first part of it is an app for your phone. So if you want to download it, I'm going to go through the steps with you. To the right of the screen, it says Child Safe Kit. Well, you're actually going to go to your app store and you're going to put in Child Safety Kit is where you're going to find ours. There's a few different ones. So if you see this picture, it's a red diamond with a teal background. That's ours. So what you would do is you would download that and you would then create your account. And then there's going to come a point where you're going to have to confirm a 4-digit code sent by text. Is there anyone that's wanting to download this right now? You can just unmute and say yes. I just don't know how much time I need to give you.
Actually, I will, because my two youngest grandkids are on their way over, the babies.
Well, there you go.
Well, that's what she wanted to find out. So she'll walk through it slower to give you time to
Yep.
download it now.
That's
if you
exactly
want to.
right. That's
Well,
exactly
I don't
right.
want to hold everybody up.
No, I mean that we've got that time allotted in
Yeah.
here.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
allotted in there. Yep, sure enough. All right, so when you go to your store app, your app store, you're going to put in child safety kit.
Child safety kit. Okay.
Correct. And then you should see one that pops up with that red diamond. And then once you download that, just let me know.
Yes. Okay, got it.
All right, now you're going to open it up and you're going to create your account pretty fast.
Okay.
All right, and then you're going to get to the point where you're going to confirm that 4-digit code sent by text.
Well, it's telling me to sign up here.
Yeah, it should say create an account.
Right.
Once you create the account, then it's going to say confirm with a 4-digit code.
All right. Okay.
All right. And then once you've done that, you're going to click activate account. And then Irma, I'm going to need your phone number so I can send you the QR code. It won't pop up. I have to send that to you.
706
All right.
681 3896.
Okay. I'm going to send it to you right now.
Yeah, code popped up.
Oh, did one pop up?
Yes.
Okay.
Your
if the
child
QR code
safety
popped
kit
up, that's
confirmation
great.
number code. It did
Okay.
pop up.
Okay, good. Okay. You should be able to scan that. And then once you scan that, it's going to say that you're ready for to start your kids' profiles. I'm going to go ahead and send this just in case, because that's the first time I've ever heard that it popped up.
Yeah,
Maybe
it did pop up. And now I'm at activate account now.
Okay, great. Okay, they fixed it. Okay, great. All right. So now that you've activated it with the QR code, it says you can start building the kids' profiles. That we won't do together. You can do that on your own. But that's where you're going to put in all your kids' information.
Now, I didn't get a QR code.
Oh, you didn't? Okay.
No, it just said activate now. And then it says activate by QR code from camera. If you have QR code, activate by QR. Oh, I got to press the button. My bad. I'm special.
It's all right.
No, but it's not giving me a QR code to activate.
Okay, I'm going to send it to you.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was thinking, is that it doesn't send it for some reason. I don't know why. So I have to send you my QR code. And I am sending that to you right now. And you'll get that on your phone. And then probably what you're going to have to do is save that to your gallery. And then you can scan it.
Okay.
And it says it came through on my end. Did it come through for you?
Yeah, it came through, but it's not
Okay.
letting me scan it. But
Okay,
keep
yeah.
going. We'll.
Yeah, what you're going to do is you'll save that to your gallery, Irma, and then later you'll scan it. And then once you scan it, it's going to pop up and say time to build the kids' profiles.
Okay.
And that's where you'll put their information in. You won't need me for that.
And I
Okay.
wonder why when it says scan, how is that possible when you're actually using your cell phone? You can't scan anything from your cell phone. So is it better to set your profile up on a computer first?
No, you save it to the gallery, and then when you go in
Oh,
there to the gallery and you press down on it, it'll allow you to scan it then.
oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So Irma, that shouldn't be a problem now that you have the QR code. That one works. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Once you build the kids' profiles, if you look back at the share screen, there's a phone to the far left, and there's like a yellowish orangey button down at the bottom, and it says share with authorities. Once you set up the kids' profiles, that's going to pop up. And I just want to note that that's like hitting 911. Okay. So you only want to hit that if something were to happen, because that's going to send out a notification on a 6-mile radius to all the police. So it's very, very fast. All right. The next step to the kid is I'm going to send you, and Irma, I'll get your email address and get your information to send it to you. You're going to get a physical card, and that's what you would picture the children's DNA in. So if
Okay.
in the event something happens, you're going to hit that button on your phone. That's going out immediately, and then when the police come to your house, you will hand them the hard copy. Make sense?
Makes sense.
All right. All right, the next thing that's in our kit that's free is we actually are giving everybody a $2,000 AD&D policy. What this means is if you were to lose two limbs, like 2 arms or 2 legs or 2 eyes or whatever, you'll get 2,000. If you just lose one, then your family gets 1,000. So this has been really helpful to a lot of families. We paid out almost 5 million of them so far, and they're no cost. So at this point, I would be asking for primary beneficiaries. And if we have a couple that comes in, I usually give both of them one. All right. So there's that. And then our other thing is called our discount card, but it's actually an app as well. It's called AIL Plus. This is a program that helps lower your out-of-pocket medical expenses. It gives everyone in the household up to 85% off discounts on kinds of things: prescriptions, vision, hearing, chiropractic services, MRIs, PAT scans. An example would be going to get eyeglasses and you go to an in-network doctor. All you're going to do is show them this phone app and they're going to give you another discount. Everybody loves this. Everybody loves this app. The best part of this app is that it does not affect the insurance that you have. All right. And again, I'll need to get emails to be able to send out the link, this email, to be able to get your member ID and your personal ID number to activate it. Okay. So I will make sure I don't forget to do that. And then the last thing,
I think you broke up a little bit. Was that me?
I don't know. Did I break up, guys?
Was that me or was that Renee? I think it was just me, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
But go ahead.
Okay. All right. And then this last thing is our will kit. And I'll scroll down for you so you can see it. Guys, I got one of these years ago and I paid over $1,000 for mine. So we're giving this to you for free. All right. And of course, this is important. If you don't have things written down, the courts are going to get involved even more so. I can promise you that. All right. Now, this part of it, this goes along with that gift certificate. We do what's called a sponsorship program. So whenever you meet with me, you can give up to 10 people $2,000 worth of AD&D policy. All right. And this is where I would be filling that information in, but we're going to skip that.
So, of course, once you get a policy, you're able to give 10 people $2,000 to help them.
You don't even have to have a policy to do that. We're giving that to them for free.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's free. That $2,000 policy is free, and then you can give that $2,000 policy to other people, up to 10 people.
Now that's a great gift when you say,
Isn't
okay, you didn't give me no pocketbook, you didn't get me a trip to Puerto Rico. No, but I got you $2,000 to go towards some life insurance. I mean, they say on average
Right.
a funeral on average is about $10,000.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and we're definitely going to be going over some of that later. It's a lot. It's a
thank you.
lot. And it is different for cremation and earth burial, definitely. All right, what this note here is, we show this at this point in the process is because we're now going to go into some other supplemental options and some permanent option benefits. And what this is saying is that we're going to try to pre-qualify you today. And today is your pre-qualification notice. So if I was meeting with someone right now, we would be encouraging them to be thinking about that right now. Okay, because what happens is we go home, we sit on it, we just don't think it's as important as it is as we're going over the information, right? We don't want to have to go back and forth. But one of the other things is that we're going to be going over is called Income Protection Program, which is one of my favorites. And we're going to be going over that as well. All right, so for pre-qualification, I went ahead and put, just to show y'all what we do, I put in my fake information. It's asking me for the family members in the house, the date of birth, and then the number of children under 18. I did 1. So we're putting all that in here. And then we ask this question of all the people in the household: does anyone have cancer, diabetes, heart attack, a stroke, hospitalized, take any medication, and then the use of nicotine. Okay. Now, this is a needs analysis, and this is how we come up with each family's plan. We do not come in and go, hey, this is the plan for everybody, okay? Because every family is different. So I'm going to put a little bit of information in here, and we're going to see exactly why the plans were chosen for me as I'm putting this information and be thinking about that. Like, what would your information be if I'm asking you these questions? So it's asking me how much I make in a month after taxes. I'm just going to put, it's a conservative amount. I'm just going to put 2,000 in there right now. And then I'm going to put my spouse at 4,000. Okay. And then we're asking the question, do we have any life insurance through work? I'm going to put no, and then asking if there's any private insurance, because they are different, right? The insurance through work is usually just temporary. You get it short term. If you leave a job or you retire, you lose that. So that's why we ask that question. And then we ask if anyone has an actual private insurance, life insurance. Okay, so that's the other questions. I'm going to put no. Then we come down here and we ask about a mortgage. I'm going to put yes, and it's asking me about what I have left on the mortgage. I'm just going to put 20,000. I'm almost at the end of it. It's what I'm going to say, and then I'm going to put that I have like 15 years. Or we'll just do 12 because I hit the wrong number. We're going to use that. All right. So when we're talking about when our members generally have similar, most of our members have generally the same concerns when we're talking about our main issues that we have with life insurance or anything that's going on in our life with life insurance. And they've been broken down into 4 main concerns. Okay. The first one is someone doesn't have permanent benefits. Okay. Most people who get workplace benefits, just like I said, they plan to retire, they change jobs, or they lose a job. We lose those benefits. Okay. The other one is the funeral and final expenses. We talked about that. I mean, my goodness, it can be $10,000 to bury somebody now, right? So how are we going to pay for that? All right. The other one is that loss of income. If the household breadwinner were to suddenly die, the spouse loses an entire paycheck. So what do we do about that? Okay. Insurability and affordability. Members need easy access to benefits that need to be easily qualified, and the benefits need to be affordable but high quality. Those are the main concerns. Okay. Now, the other concern along with that affordable and high quality is how do we come up with our pricing? And it's important for us to note the way we come up with our pricing is we use it's a union phrase called our power program. We want it to cost you at 3% per week of your income. That is only 2 to 3 hours of your work pay. Pretty affordable, right? Pretty affordable. So that's how we come up with that number. Now, once I put that information in, we're going to then discuss a little bit about the 4 different types of life insurance. I don't know if any of y'all are familiar with these different types, but I'm going to run through them very quickly. The group insurance, I've hit on that a few times. It's most affordable because the employer usually pays a portion of it, but it's short term. It's gone if you leave. It's gone when you retire, okay? Accidental insurance, our second type, is self-explanatory. This is a really good. It's not expensive. Definitely good for people who have dangerous jobs as well. Okay. Term insurance. The best way for me to describe this is like renting a home. Okay. You don't own it. It doesn't grow equity, so it doesn't have cash value on it. It has terms on it. When that term's met, it's over. Just like with rent, someone can go up on your rent. After the term's over, the premium can go up. Okay. Now, the last one, whole life, is more like owning a home. It grows equity, it grows cash value. What you lock in on your premium today stays. So imagine you lock in on something at 30 years old, and then you get to be 70 and you're still paying the same price. That's whole life. Okay. It's like when you own your own home, nobody can tell you what to do with that. It's locked in. So that's what whole life is. Okay. I'm asked all the time, which one's the best? It's not like that. It's per family. None of them are better than the other. It's what the family's needing. All right. So at this time, what this is coming back with is it's telling me what my needs are based on the needs analysis I did. I intentionally put that my spouse made double what I make because I wanted it to come up with a couple of things. And the first one was the final expense of protection. And I'm going to show this video really quickly to show you, to go on a little bit more about funeral costs and inflation and how we come up with this amount, okay?
The only thing certain in life is death, and you probably have experience with it yourself, whether it be a friend, family member, or another loved one. Nothing is worse than losing the people you care about. But what happens when your loved ones lose you? Emotionally, death is difficult, but financially, it can be catastrophic. The average cost of a cremation today is around $7,500, and the average cost of a burial is twice that, around $15,000. But the real problem is that the cost of funerals is always going up due to inflation. Just like how your Starbucks coffee was $3 10 years ago, and now that same coffee is $6 to $8 today. All this means is that the cost of everything you buy doubles every 10 years or so, and your funeral and final arrangements are no different. Inflation averages 3.4% per year. An average life expectancy is 77 years across the United States. So, based on your current age, the inflation rate, and average life expectancy, we can do the math to get an excellent idea of what your final expenses will be when they're needed. But what does this mean for your family? Who will be responsible for paying for these final arrangements? Do they have the tens of thousands of dollars required to pay for them? How will that unexpected expense affect your family financially now and in the long run? And what are the ramifications of not having a plan in place? All of these are important questions to ask ourselves when planning for our end of life.
All right. So here's the cost. And then this is what it's going to cost. Now, we're basing this on a life expectancy of 77. Due to that inflation rate, that is how much my cremation is going to cost me if I were to make it to 77. $22,000, guys. Okay. The burial is $44,000. So this is where we come up with freedom of choice. This is one. Let me see. Trying to get it to scroll down for you. There we go. All right. So this is what our company has. We have what's called freedom of choice. What this does is it takes care of all the final expenses. All your family has to do is walk into the funeral home and hand this over. The good thing about our freedom of choice is it does not have a price tag on it. Okay. Most companies, you go in and it has $30,000 written on it. How much you think they're going to make you pay for that funeral with 30,000 written on it? At least 30,000, right? At least.
So wait a minute. I got a question. So are you saying, wait a minute. So if your policy, if you only get I'm just saying, if I get a policy and I can only afford to get a $20,000 policy, but something happens, but the funeral is 40, why would the insurance company, that's basically like a blank check. Why, so you're saying that the insurance would pay for a 40,000 funeral, even though I've only been paying for a $20,000 policy?
Yeah, it takes care of all of it. Yeah. Yeah. Because of the inflation. See, okay, so like for instance, let me scroll back up. My whole life is recommending 22,000.
Okay.
His whole life is recommending 44,000. Now, let's say I die tomorrow, the funeral is only going to cost 7,500. So my family's going to get the rest of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
We're
because it sounds to me
taking
like y'all
inflation
losing
off.
money. It
Yep,
sounds to
yep.
me like y'all are losing. So I'm just
We
trying to figure.
are. We are
Yeah,
losing
I'm trying to
money.
figure out how that works, because if
Right.
with any other insurance company, if you're paying for $20,000 life insurance policy, if you die, that's what your family is getting, a $20,000 check. But what I'm hearing you say, that if you were to sign up and get a life insurance policy with us, you may get it for an X amount. But if you go to have your funeral and they say that that cost is more than what you've actually paid for, we're going to cover it anyway because
Yeah.
you had a policy with us.
Yes, because it's whole life. Yes. That's the freedom of choice.
Okay, then.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. It'll take care of the entire financial side of the funeral. And then if there's money left over, your family gets the rest of it. It's a really good program. I mean, I
Okay.
truly, truly believe in it. I don't know how in the world we do it. You know, it's insane. Um, and then when we go into some of the other supplemental things, you're going to be like, wow, okay, you know. So your coverage would be like, for instance, just to give you, well, we'll come to that here in a minute when I show you the plan, because that's why I did that on purpose so y'all could see that. But okay, the other one that I really, 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 really like is called income protection. And what this means is like, for instance, if you look at the screen, um, he's getting protection for 239 because he makes more than me, and I'm getting protection of 120. Now, you can obviously take one off, but what this is saying is if Victor were to die, me and my child would get $239.94 a year for 5 years a month, or I can take the lump sum. Pretty good, right?
Say that again now.
Okay, so looking at the screen, can you
Uh-huh.
see the screen? All right, Victor makes they're saying that he needs an income protection of 230, recommended is 239. Okay, they're saying protection in, I'm sorry, I looked at the wrong thing. 143,964. So if I were to do income protection on him for that amount and he were to die, me and my child would get that money for 5 years. It would be divvied up per year.
Okay. To
For
help with the fact that he was making more money than
he
you, to
was the
kind of help.
breadwinner.
Well, I
Yeah,
have a life insurance policy, but I'm thinking about at least getting a small policy with y'all
yeah,
if that's the case, because this is
yeah,
good.
yeah. It's really, really good. I
Yeah,
mean,
because
real good programs.
I'm sitting here listening to this and I'm like, I got about 3 or 4 policies and I'm like, what the hell am I doing? I'm
Yes, to
kind of
try to combine.
confused.
I got
Yeah,
two just to try to combine to
yeah,
get a large enough amount. But if y'all are talking about you can get one for 40,000 and then your funeral is 60,000, we're gonna basically pay for a 60,000 funeral, but no other insurance company is doing that. So I'm sitting here
mhm,
thinking, okay, yeah,
Never
this
heard of
makes
such.
sense. Never.
yeah. It's all about the math and all that. They know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. But yeah, the family literally it takes care of that freedom of choice. Yep. And with this income protection, I'm telling you guys, like when you got a breadwinner, I've got a lot of stay-at-home moms. What if they lose their spouse? What
Now
would they
that's
do?
definitely got to be devastating.
I mean, absolutely devastating. And you start running around and you saying, where are we going to live? I'm going to have to change my kids' schools. I'm going to have to do all this. Well, what this does is it takes care of that. And this doesn't even have to be a mom. This could be a caregiver. This is somebody that a child's placed with. You can get protection. This is for grandparents. This is for anybody who's in a caregiving role for their child. Yeah, it's really, really good program. All right, so they've come up with a plan for me. I'm just going to go ahead and show y'all real quickly, all three of them. This is what they're recommending based on the information I put in there, okay? As you can see, we've got the accidental death, we've got the income protection, we got the final expense. That final expense, as you see, stays the same for every plan cost. You see that? They know that's what you need.
Yeah.
So we're not going to lower that final expense. They're going to lower the accidental death, and they're going to lower that income protection. See, up here, they've got me only covered for 2 years. He's 3 years. And then they're coming down to gold, it's 1 year. But let me show you the price. Let's see. This is per week. Per week. All right. And then we're going to go to the month. And then that's for month. Okay, now this is based on my family information. Okay.
Okay.
So this can be customized. So for example, let me come over here to the customization and let's take off, we're going to keep that final expense. Let's do 22,000 on the final expense. Let's keep that. And we're going to keep that 22,000 on here.
And let's play the devil's advocate. Are you able to change the income on it? We want to make sure that somebody who works at Burger King or somebody who's a custodial at a school.
All right.
So
let me
on
stop
average,
here.
if a person is making,
let me go back.
Let's say if a person is making $10, let's just try to go with the lowest. So if a person is making, let me see, $8 an hour times 40 hours a week is $320. That's times 4, that is $1,280. They'll probably have some taxes come off of that. So they bring the take home is $900 a month.
All right.
Can you plug that number in?
All right, let me find that.
Because we want to make sure if it's affordable for people.
All right, let me stop share. Let me find that bubble for us. Yeah, that's really what I should have done. I'm in the wrong thing here. I wonder. Okay, where was that one at? Oh yeah, it was in the needs analysis. That's right. Okay, so we're gonna put me at 1,000, and then we're gonna put him. What did we say? Like maybe 2,000 or 1,000?
Yeah, about the same. Both of y'all struggling. Both of y'all having a hard time. So both of y'all at 1,000.
All right, and then let's come over here, and that's my customized. Yeah, they see what they did here now is they've made it to where you're only getting the final expenses covered. But see how much the numbers are lowered?
Okay, you don't have your screen shared.
Oh, shoot. Guess I should do that, huh? I'm all leaned up in here talking about it. There we go. But see how it went down?
So so let's say I can afford $69, $70 a month. That's a little bit better. I would be able to, they would pay up to $7,500 towards one person's funeral, but pay up to $15,000 on the other person.
Yep.
So what happened to the blank check policy you talked about earlier?
It's still the same. It's still the same. Let me show you. It's still going to be that freedom of choice. It's still going to be blank. That never changes. Okay. We don't put a price on it because of that.
So what's final expense? Maybe I'm just confused. Is that the actual policy? That means
That's
if something was to happen to the other person.
That's your whole life. Final expense is your whole life policy.
That means that's the check, the amount check they would cut to a family member?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So a family member would get the $7,500 check, but they also get that freedom of choice to take.
No. They get just the freedom of choice. They just get that certificate, and then they take it back there, and then whatever's left over, the family gets it. If there's any left over. If there's not any
Okay.
left over, then the final expenses are at least paid for.
So when you're saying leftover, that's what I think I'm confused at, because at first I took it as a blank check. But when you
Well,
say leftover, meaning what? Leftover from
it's
what?
blank for the
7,500?
funeral home, but it's not blank for the policy people. Like we know what the value is on it. The
Okay, so you're
funeral
saying
home,
if I'm paying for this policy that's 7,500, but if I go in and someone's going to pay for my funeral, but my funeral was 17,000, how much is the insurance company going to pay the funeral home?
I need to ask that question because it's always been where the number was higher
Yeah.
than that 7,500. Because obviously, let's say that I live to 77, that's not going to be enough.
Uh-uh.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask Gina that question because this is the first time I've had that. You know what I mean? Because like
Yeah.
22,000 is plenty to cover anything. I mean,
Yes.
for it to be 77, it's plenty. But you're right. If someone doesn't, if someone lives to 77 and doesn't change their plan at all, is that going to cover that?
Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. If like we had on there $70 a month to pay for the life insurance, and the policy actually says 7,500. So I'm expecting with what I'm doing right now with my current life insurance company, if I pass, your family gonna get a check for 7,500. We don't care if your funeral is 15,000, you ain't gonna get the 7,500 for us because that's what
I
you've been
got you.
paying. But what I'm
Okay.
hearing you say is you may have been paying for a policy that would normally pay you 7,500. But if you were to go into a funeral and your funeral is 15,000, we will actually pay for your $15,000 funeral.
Yes, yes. I'm going to get clarity on that, okay? I'm
Okay,
going to
yeah.
absolutely make sure I'm not giving you wrong information on that.
Okay.
But that is my understanding. That's
Okay,
why
because
we
if that's
don't
the
put a
event, I
price
will get
tag
a
on
policy just as sure as you can confirm with me.
it. Yep, yep. I absolutely will do that because I am going back to work today and I will, that'll be the first question I ask her. But yeah, as you
Okay.
can see, it changes doing, like for instance, like it doesn't have any of the accident on there or any of that stuff. But one of the things that we were talking about with, we'll go ahead and go into this because I'm pretty much done with the presentation. One of the things that I was talking to my manager about was, well, these people who, these individuals who are getting out of prison, they're not going to be eligible. They're not going to get it because you've got to be out with, you got to be out off of probation and out of jail, out of prison or whatever for 5 years. That's first and foremost, or you won't get it. You won't be qualified. So she went to the main boss and came back to me this morning and said, well, what you do is you take this final expense your whole life and you increase it on the spouse, the person that can get qualified. And because it grows cash value, that's what it is. It grows cash value. See, you're getting cash value on this. You're buying it at 7,500, but you're putting money into it and it grows. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So let's say I get a policy and my spouse can't get a policy. I go ahead and I get a $22,000 final expense policy. My husband dies. He ain't got it, right? Well, I got money in that. I've been paying money into that. So I can take the money out of it and use it for his funeral. Does that make sense?
Okay. Okay.
That's the way around it. That's the way around it.
I I I really hate that because
I know.
as a person who had the same challenge that when I got out of prison 15 years ago, I wanted to get life insurance and I wanted to get burial insurance. And I'm glad because that's actually one of the questions that someone emailed on the registration form, which was, does your company deny life or health insurance policies to people with a criminal record? If so, why? Because we have to die too and we need insurance too.
Yeah.
And it just really shocked me that people associate having a felony with having a risky life.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was about to say.
Considering that white collar crimes of people who sit behind computers is the most harming and most type of crime that usually happens, that takes no kind of risk. So that really bothered me because my question was, I know you said, oh, it may be a workaround, but it really may not, it's not really a workaround for a lot of people, because if you're a single parent who has children and you are the only provider and you're wanting to get life insurance on your children, you can
You
get it on your
can.
children, even if, so do you do a background check on the individual who's wanting to get it on their children?
No, you can get it on the children.
So it's, if I'm trying to get the policy on myself, and if I had a felony, I would be denied simply because I had a felony. There's no consideration of how long the felony was, or if it's, I could see if I had my charges where I was constantly doing home invasions and renting up in people's
Yeah.
houses where somebody
Yeah.
might shoot me. I can see that. But what I'm saying, no other information is taken in consideration of how long it was or anything like that. It's
It
just
does
outright
once
denial.
that 5 years is up. You got to have that 5 year period that you've been out.
Okay.
Once the
Okay.
5 years is up that you've been out, yes, it does absolutely make a difference.
Is that 5 years out or that 5 years off of paper?
5 years out. Let me make sure.
And that does make sense. And that's a good question, because you have some people who may have committed a crime in 1985, but may have served 20 years. And when they get out, they want life insurance. When people, I think getting life insurance is something to show a sign of self-sufficiency. You know, I got a job now. I want to pay my tithes. I want to pay
Yep.
rent. I want to pay taxes. That's just the natural thing for me was I want to get a life insurance policy. So what you're
Yep.
saying is, even though I've stayed out of trouble for 20 years and my charge may be 20 years old, it's from the day that I get out that I can't do anything, or because
Yes,
I want to
once
make
you
sure you
get
get some
out, you've got to
clarification
have
on it.
5 years of
You've
not
got to
going
been
back. It's
been
saying
out.
I'm not risky anymore. I'm using that word because
Oh,
that's
okay.
exactly the words that my manager used. Because I did
Okay.
the same thing. I said, it doesn't make sense to me. You got to help me. You got to help me help it make sense to me. And she said, it's about risk.
Okay.
It's about risk. We're putting a lot of money out there when someone passes away, and we want them to live as long as possible, right?
Yeah.
It's about risk.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
mean, what I'm not understanding, and it's probably just me. If you are out and you have 20 years probation, you're still on paper. So will that
I think
make you
that's where
ineligible?
you, I
Am I
think
just missing something?
no, I think that's where they start looking at the whole picture. I think that's where we would do probably what's called an auto trial. And they would go ahead
Okay.
and probably go through the qualification process. But you're
Do
right.
y'all do those same kind of trials or risk assessments when are there on this application, the life insurance application, are there any questions that pertain to risk? Do you ask questions
Yes.
such as, do you skydive? Do
Yes.
you do stuff like that?
Yes.
Are those people taking at the same amount as considered
Yes.
risk as people? Okay.
Yes. Yep. It's
Okay.
on every question. If someone's out there flying a plane, a personal plane, that's
Okay.
a risk.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same thing. We ask about alcohol use, medications. Medications could go put you into an auto trial.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I got a whole list right here. Um, they can put you depending on your age for ADD and ADHD. They could put you on an auto trial. I mean, there's a whole list.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. The one that I've got highlighted, I don't know if you can see it. This section right here.
Uh-huh.
That was for this. This is the habits, miscellaneous drugs and alcohol and arrest section.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I hate that.
I know it's very serious. I did have one more thing. You were talking about if they could become an agent. They cannot become an agent, but they can become what's called a non-agent recruiting contract worker.
Okay, yes, there was a question about does AIL hire individuals with criminal
Yep.
records? So y'all
Yep.
don't hire them as agents, but you'll kind of hire them as recruiters to send people your way.
Yep, but they get paid for that. They're called
Okay.
recruiting consultants.
Okay. Well, if you
They
can
get,
give me that information, I
yep.
will definitely share
Yep.
it with folks. Now, is
That
there
was
a
really
background check
exciting.
for the recruiting consultant?
Yeah, that was really exciting to hear that. Like my manager got really excited about that.
Yeah,
And
but I'm saying is what's the background stipulations for the recruiting consultant?
well, I mean, obviously they know that you've got a background. You've got a because I went to them and said, would you hire someone who's been in prison, and
Yeah.
as long as it's not forgery money related,
Okay. That
I
makes
mean,
sense.
right, stuff like that. It's not going to be the other. It's not going to be like just a drug related crime.
That's for the recruiter, not the agent. You can't be an agent
Recruiter.
at all with a felony, period.
No.
But you can be a recruiter.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. It's called becoming a NARC, a non-agent recruiting contract. That's
Oh
what
Lord,
the
then they
contract
named
is.
it
Isn't
NARC.
that funny? You can become a NARC.
Okay. Well, make sure you send me. We'll make sure we get that information so we can share.
Yeah. It's $250 per person that signs up that they recruit.
Okay then.
I mean, that's a little money coming in, right?
Yeah. Okay.
You just do that as a side hustle.
Okay. Well, thank you. I know you did life insurance. Did you do supplemental health insurance
Let me think.
for
No,
folks who
we
may
don't
not,
have
they got a
supplemental
job, but
health
their
insurance.
job does not offer health insurance.
Yeah, we don't have supplemental health insurance.
Oh, okay. On the website, it said y'all had supplemental health insurance. Was it supplemental health plan policies?
We don't have health plans. We
Okay.
have we have supplemental benefits, like we have like layoff waivers, terminal illness rider, waiver of premium, income protection. So we have things
Okay.
outside of just regular life insurance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I ain't gonna interrupt you no more.
Oh no. That was it. Like I said, it's just the biggest thing is, understanding that we can customize this, we can do what the family needs. You can switch these things off. Each one comes with a $10,000 child rider. So if you sign up and get one, your children who are under 18 can get that rider. We also have what's called Head Starts, 25,000 for children. Very cheap
Okay.
too. $25,000 coverage for children in its whole life, so it doesn't change.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have a lot of options out there. But
Okay.
anybody that wants to come and talk and do a one-on-one, I'm their person. And
Okay.
I would be the person that would be meeting with them so that I'm aware of what they've been going through and what the situation is.
Okay. Well, before I drop the rest of your are you done with your presentation?
Yes, I'm done.
Okay,
I'm done.
before I drop your information back in the chat, I wanted to show what I have been looking at on the screen. That's why I was asking about if your job did not have as much health insurance. That's what I was looking at on the website, where it comes to products, which is life and health. Where is it? Oh, where is it? There it is. And then it has supplemental health here,
Yeah.
accidental and supplemental health, hospital indemnity.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's our cancer policies.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not health insurance, but it has to do, you know what I'm saying?
Hospital
Yeah,
indemnity.
yeah. That's like if you want to get a coverage, like if you're in the hospital, like one of them, it'll pay $1,000 to you every day that you're in the hospital.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Like my mom has a cancer policy on my dad, and he got skin cancer. So
Okay.
every year she gets a check for him.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
Pretty
thank you
much.
so much. Does anybody have any questions do you have any questions for Renee? 'Cause I'm gonna drop her information back in.
No, I have no
If
questions.
not, Renee,
Thank
I
you.
want to ask some questions that did come in on the Zoom form. One question said, what is the age recommendation for the child safety kit? I know it's called a child safety kit, but is this something I can also use for my older children,
Yes.
my spouse, or even myself?
Yeah.
So I know it says children, but if I wanted to get it for myself and my wife, would I be able to get it and download it and put our hair in and stuff like? I mean, because we go missing too. I don't think
Yes.
anybody's kidnapping big, fat, beautiful women, but I would
I
like.
have a bunch of autistic adults.
Okay, Oh, that would be great for an
I've got a
autistic.
bunch of autistic adults that
Okay.
their caregiver has gotten this for them.
Okay. Okay.
So any age.
Okay.
And just for them to get the information, all I need is for them to email me or text me or call me. I just need their email and their phone number,
Okay.
and I can get
So
it to
you
them.
can get the wheel, the child safety kits without actually getting the plan.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Those are
Okay.
all no cost benefits. Yep.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Amber,
Yep.
did you have any questions?
No, I do not.
Were you able to get the app downloaded, get it done?
Yes.
Yep. Good.
Okay.
Yep. And Irma, I'll need to send you the rest of that stuff.
Right.
So just give her your unless I can write it down right here,
I
since
think
you
I
don't
put it
have anybody
in
else
chat.
And
on here
then, but
anymore.
we're live, so what I'm doing is
Oh
I'm just
yeah,
go
yeah,
ahead and
yeah,
do
yeah,
a
yeah.
follow up.
I forgot.
We don't want folks showing up at Irma's house, so I'm
No.
gonna do a email follow up soon as before I turn this computer off. Of course, y'all will get the recording and all this stuff tomorrow, but I will go ahead and immediately send you the email and say this is Irma information,
Okay.
and that way you have it. And I'm gonna send you my mailing and stuff because I do want the child safety kits, 3 for my nieces and nephews, plus I want 1 for me and 1 for my wife.
Ain't nobody taking y'all nowhere.
You never know, somebody might snatch me up. So,
Yep.
but
Yep.
definitely want that and the wheel because that's one of the things too. I think, particularly in my community, we don't talk about life insurance as much. We definitely don't talk about wheels. I've seen people write stuff on notebook paper
Yep.
and they finally get somewhere and they find out that that's actually not legal.
Nope.
And now the state actually literally can take your property. So those wheels is something I definitely know we definitely need to be able to talk about. We may have to actually have another call on that, whether it's with you or somebody else.
Yep.
And those things that you have when you're in the hospital, what they call, like in case you're sick or you're like a
Yeah.
vegetable.
The
I
stuff
forget what
with
will.
they,
last will and testament.
the last will and
The living
testament,
will.
I mean the
the
living
living
will. I'm
will,
sorry.
power of attorney, things like
I
that.
got all of that.
So that's what I need
Do
you to
Yeah.
you
send me.
Yeah.
do you work on trust?
No.
Okay. Because
No.
I'm trying to figure out the difference between the trust and a will. So I'm trying to debate which way I should go.
Well, a trust, I do know this. A trust is more protection than just a will. A trust is better than a will. With a will, the courts are still going to get involved a little bit, but with the trust, you have a big chance of the courts not getting involved.
Okay.
I do know that because I had that conversation just the other day.
Well, thank you. I
Yeah,
needed that information.
well, guys, it's really important. I just real quickly before I get off, I was just sharing this story with somebody just last night. I have a neighbor, and he didn't do anything. He didn't have anything in writing. He didn't have a life insurance policy or anything. Well, he passed away, and I used to sit out on the back porch, and I'd see him coming in and out. Well, for 3 weeks I didn't see him, guys, and I went to my husband and I said, I don't think Rodney's okay. Roderick's not okay, and everything. Come to find out, y'all, that man had died and been in that house for 3 weeks.
Hmm.
3 weeks. He had nothing in writing. That house got caught up in probate court for 6 years
Mm.
because he had nothing in writing. He had a daughter and everything, and she tried to move in, and they got her for squatting. Yeah,
Because it's not legally hers. He
it
didn't leave
wasn't
it to
legally
her.
hers, and she never got it. The probate court took it. The state got it. So we need to let people know how important this is.
Yeah,
It's
because
so
actually that's the
important.
same thing that happened to me and my father. He left me a will and wrote it in there that I should get his house, right? And then his ex-wife, well, his wife put her name on the title. So that superseded what
Yep.
his directions. Yeah. So I just went through that.
Yep. So you know
Really?
how it can be.
Yeah.
Yep. So
That should
I
be
think it's
illegal when
great.
somebody tampers with a wheel.
Nope. The lawyer said it's not illegal because he left her name on the title. He just added her as a tenant, and it's something about, and this is California because my father lived in Oakland. And even though he gave us his supposedly will, the court superseded that because her title. So you have to be really down in the weeds because there's always something.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, we will definitely that lets me know me and Irma need to get together. We need to be working on that as well because
Yes, you do.
wills, trust, power of attorneys, living wills are definitely something we
Yeah.
need to be discussing. So this has been very informative. I had this, Renee gave me this overview about 2 weeks ago. And I went through the whole process of everything, but I learned more stuff on this call as well. So I really appreciate that.
Good.
With your patience, was talking to us about the child safety kits. Now, I think the last thing was, and I know it has nothing to do with you, but if you go to the Better Business Bureau, okay, you just stay on the phone call. But we're gonna stop the recording at this moment. Thank you very much, Renee. Y'all stay on the call, don't go anywhere. So we want to thank you all so very much.
Don't stop the recording because I have a question for Renee.
Oh, okay.
Renee, if you have a term life insurance policy, can you push it over to a whole life? Can you do that?
That's a good question.
Well, you can change it over, but it doesn't roll over.
Yeah.
You start over. I know. But on the term life, sometimes they do have a little bit that you can get a little bit of money off of it.
Yeah. Okay.
I've heard people when I ask people when they'll say make sure it's always whole. And I know you said it's based on people's income, and term insurance policies do tend to be cheaper than whole policies. So I guess the question that was said earlier, I didn't ask the question because I think you had already addressed it, because you were saying neither one is better than the other one, but I assume one is more desirable. One gives you more safety, right? I mean, they give you both give you protection, except one make the rate. The only difference is the rate goes higher in term, and the rate stays the same in whole.
Yeah.
So it's no such thing as one is worse insurance. You're going to get the same coverage and protection,
Right.
except your premium prices that you're paying every month may go up in 5 years.
Yep.
They are going to go
and
up.
then you have to go through requalification when your term's up.
And now
So you don't have to go through requalification with the whole policy?
No, once it's locked in, it's locked in.
Oh.
And see, now if I want to switch over from a term to a whole life, and I'm old now, and I got all kind of aches and pains in my knees, then it's going to be an issue.
It could be. It could be. It depends on what those are, Irma. And I mean, like I said, you can definitely have a conversation and talk about it. I can pull you back on Zoom. We can put your information in and see what it says.
Okay.
And so I'll tend to, I'll tend to do that. And
done.
Yeah, we'll do that. But I appreciate you for the information.
Yeah.
Definitely. So I'm gonna stop recording. Thank you so much. Hold on 1 minute.
Right.
Stop recording. Thank you all so much for joining us.